Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to more content on the channel. In today's video, we're gonna play some more Arise crossover. Guys, so the game updated at this point like a day and a half ago, 2 days. I don't know when I'm gonna be uploading this video. But let me tell you, man, I live streamed this content only to find out that I wasn't recording. So we're gonna check out the freaking new content again by ourselves without the live stream. So hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you want to continue to see more content on this game here on the channel, just drop a like on it. All right, so we're in game, and probably one of the easiest changes you guys can spot already is that down in the smack center of our screen, we have a level bar now. So I'm still level 1, but they've added in a brand new leveling and stats system. I'm personally not the biggest fan of like this little icon that they have for the stats system. But as you guys can see over here in the level tab, I have a bunch of different stats that I can increase and allocate skill points into. It's up to you what you end up doing. Me personally, I'm gonna go into weapon because weapon is the meta right now. But if you guys take a look, like shadow power, for example, increases your shadow damage by 5% per level. So it's up to you what you want to go with, whether that be shadow power, weapon mastery, which increases your weapon damage by 0.05% per level, or shadow reach, shadow agility, player speed. It literally is all up to you. So the way this new system works is that now whenever you do anything that increases your guild's experience, as you guys can see, like literally the guild leveling system is parallel to the player leveling system. So again, doing activities like dungeons and things of that nature that give you EXP, that will give you EXP for your player level as well. And as you guys can tell, we are in the brand new area. This is the One Punch Man Island they've added in. The first like shadow you can arise here is the Rider NPC, and he is tough. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. He's pretty freaking tough. As you guys can tell. My weapon does, I believe right now we're doing like 33.4 QA damage. And you know, we have sharpness 8 on it at B rank, and look, it's still taking forever, and this is the starter NPC. So obviously we have brand new weapons and stuff like that by way of this update as well. These are insane. When I first saw these, bro, my jaw dropped. Like I'm not even joking, bro. Like the best weapon here costs 5.2 key cash, and it's gonna deal 14.75 QA damage. Like that's absurd. That's literally absurd. I think my actual C rank weapons, let me show you from the previous area. Yeah, basically the C rank weapons with sharpness 8, mind you, they drew just 17 QA. So just think about how many weapons you would have had to enchant it before just to get one of these new weapons to equate in terms of power. Like, oh my god, these things are very expensive, but they're very OP, bro. So by the way, before we continue on to anything else, I wanted to also mention that there have been, like, I believe 2 little mini updates and fixes, if you will, since the update originally came out. And PIDA has announced that the EXP and dungeon update changed up how grouped up the enemies are going to be, like when you actually take on dungeons and partake in castles. So now you can also gain XP from defeating enemies in the Infernal Castle as well. Before it was just like you would only gain XP from doing a dungeon, but now you can partake in the Infernal Castle and also get some XP as well, like I said. By the way, I'm going to show you guys the rest of the enemies that you can fight. So obviously you have like generals over here that you can fight. I actually have not fully explored this island myself. Ooh, Tatsumi's here as well. I think that might be it, because I believe if I open up my menu in the index here, we only have, yes, these 3 NPCs and then a boss, of course. So cool. So I also wanted to point out that if you guys are curious as to the specific XP values that you can get from clearing dungeons, so basically an E rank dungeon is going to give you 10 EXP. A D rank dungeon is going to give you 20, C rank 30, B rank 40, A rank 50, S rank 60, and a double S rank dungeon is going to give you 70 XP to your player level. So just thought I'd let you guys know. And also on the topic of all this stuff, I'm gonna start making my way down to solo leveling city, because in about 3 minutes an Infernal Castle will spawn in. But I also wanted to mention that unfortunately they caught on to us, fellas. They caught on to us. And what I mean by that is, if you guys played after the little mini update they did midweek last week, you would know that the new solo leveling like hunters they added in that midweek update, the new G ranks, of course, were really easy to finesse. And what I mean by that is the Infernal Castle will spawn every 45 minutes, correct? And then after it spawns in at the 45-minute, it stays open for about 10 or 15 minutes or 14 minutes, something like that. So what people would do is, because the midweek update would allow you to skip floors and go straight to floor 25, ironically, exactly when Wessel, or Seal, whatever you want to call her, actually spawns in as part of the new update. So you would able to farm this boss. As you can tell, I have 2 of her. I was trying to get her G rank. I only did it 1 try, so I couldn't take advantage of it because I didn't have much time to play the game. But for those of you that took advantage of that, you know, easy cheese with the Infernal Castle, you can no longer do it. And how it worked before, like I mentioned, is the Infernal Castle would open up. You would go, you would skip to floor 25, defeat the boss, leave, go back, and keep doing it up until the Infernal Castle entrance had closed up here in Solo Leveling City. Now, what they've done is they've added a currency to retries. That's right, guys. You're going to have to sacrifice gems or tickets to retry. Ah, that sucks so bad, brother. It really does. By the way, I also forgot to mention that with the dungeon XP that I told you guys before, for every single rank, how much XP you're going to get for your player level, a double dungeon is going to give you 3 times the amount of XP, and then a red dungeon is going to give you 5 times the amount of XP. So for example, if you do a red double S rank dungeon, you're going to get 350 XP for your player level, guild level, etc., instead of the base 70 that you would have otherwise gotten. All right, so here we go, guys. A Infernal Castle gate, I guess you can call it, opened up. So we are going to go ahead and just do a regular start. I'm just gonna run some levels just to see what this update did to the Infernal Castle, because apparently they buffed the rewards and things that you can get from the Infernal Castle, so that's pretty cool. And as you can see, we just got in here, but just because my shadows killed off a shadow, or an enemy rather, I leveled up. Pretty cool, pretty easy. Also, since we're still talking about all this leveling stuff, can you tell this is probably the biggest part of the update? But they've also additionally further enhanced and adjusted the balancing for leveling. So when the update first came out, leveling took a little bit longer. You know, now it's obviously a lot easier, as you can tell by the XP that I'm getting. And additionally, they've buffed the amount of shadow damage that your shadows do per player rank by 5%. So that's pretty good. I think they're trying to readjust and balance things out for shadows, because as it is right now, like, the meta for this game is just to use your sword, right? Like, we don't really care too much about shadows. Like, the noobs really do. The pros, they really just care about, you know, having a dank weapon. But with all these little minor tweaks and adjustments they're doing, I think they're trying to level the playing field here for weapons and shadows, which is pretty cool. So unfortunately, they also ended up changing how the rank bonuses work, like when you rank up. So remember before, you used to get an additional like 5 levels per rank up for your shadows and things like that. And then, like, I think N ranks got like a disgusting amount, which was like 30 levels and things like that. But they've readjusted it. So now, no rank, like if you're unranked, or if you're rank E, DCB, you get 0 levels added onto your shadows. Which I guess at that point, the only benefit to you actually ranking up in those ranks is going to be you. Oh, I put auto destroy instead of auto arise. Oh, it is what it is, chat. It is what it is. So anyway, the only benefit to ranking up in that case would be the additional weapon damage that you happen to get, because unfortunately your shadows are not going to get any more levels. And in case you're a complete noob and don't know what I'm talking about, if I open up my menus here and go into the index, for example, in Leveling City, we have our Beru, right? Beru at G rank normally maxes out, I believe, at level 250. Something like that, or 225. I forget. I think it's like 225. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's at 225. So if you were to have ranked up before, you would get like an additional 5 levels, make it 230, etc. But now how it works is at A rank, you get 5 levels added on to your shadows levels, right? Max level, should I say. At S rank, you get plus 10 total levels. At double S rank, you get plus 15. At G rank, you get plus 25. At N rank, you get plus 40. And at N plus, you get an additional whopping 60 levels. So that is humongous. Humongous. Because if you guys can tell, like, my G rank Beru is doing 76 trillion damage. Before this change, my G rank Beru was doing, I believe, around 50 or 30 something trillion damage. So it's a significant difference. And if we compare our Bedu and the max level that he can get at, which is now 116 trillion damage, which is insane, our Wessel, or however you want to call her, oops, is going to be doing way more damage than that. She's going to be doing 313 trillion. So effectively with this change, we can now have our shadows dealing in the QA levels of damage, which again, like I told you guys, is them trying to level the playing field, because weapons are or were the absolute meta. Now with the new shadows and stuff they've added in, maybe it has changed, because I mean, I only know about Wessel, but they've added in like 3 other new really good shadows that are also potential G ranks, and probably do an absurdly more amount of damage than her. So I don't know. It's a really big shift in the game's balance with this update that wasn't even a part of the original update that went up on Saturday. This is literally as of yesterday, bro. So I feel like it's also important to note that now with all the changes they did yesterday, ooh, Ink of Death, shadow damage plus 16%. Oh, we got a relic. So, oh my God. So relics are a new thing, a part of the original update that came out on Saturday. We'll get into that in just a second. But as you can see, they give you really good multipliers and bonuses and stuff like that. I just wanted to show you guys that any weapon can now be equipped as a skin. So remember before we had skins and stuff like that were literally skins. Now, if you like a specific style or look of a weapon, you can actually just equip it as a skin for your item, which is pretty cool. Also, again, literally this just happened yesterday, but they've added in a new bundle, which is a powder dust bundle. As you guys can see, it gives you 300 common, 200 rare, and 150 legendary powder dust. They also have a potions bundle now and a Drake bundle, which is a brand new mount bundle as well. This one in particular is pretty cool because you have a purple Drake, which is a flying dragon or Drake, you know what I mean? And an Elder Drake, which is going to be a ground unit just for strictly being on ground. So now that I'm in the shop, it's actually a good time to show you guys that you can use a Easter code. This is a brand new code, just came out. You guys can use that. You're going to get some tickets, some dust, some potions. It's a really good code. Make sure you guys use it. So also, let me stop auto attacking here. Again, it's a lot of stuff relating to shadows and weapons and stuff, this update. But if you guys take a look in the shadows UI, you now have a skin tab as well. So you can set players skins. As you guys can see, we can make ourselves like Bedu if we wanted to, as you guys can tell. Or vice versa. We can literally go ahead and go back into skins. We can click shadows. We can select like Bedu, and we can make him you know, baby girl if we wanted to. So you see how she's like a mini baby girl now? So this is pretty cool, and again, it's part of the new update as well. Nice. I just leveled up as well. Can you guys tell that leveling is super fast? We literally just started this Infernal Castle. I've been yapping most of the time talking about this update, and we are level 4. So even though I'm not taking this seriously and trying to get as far as I can go in the Infernal Castle, we are making good progress and good gains. So once we get out of here, I don't think we'll get lucky, but maybe we will by the time we end up the video. In the XYZ city, which is the new One Punch Man Island I showed you guys, they've actually finally added in a new dungeon map. So when the update again came out on Saturday, there was no new dungeon map, but as of yesterday, they finally added in that new dungeon map, so you guys can go ahead and run a dungeon on the new One Punch Man Island. So now, as we keep going through the dungeon, let me keep yapping to you guys about these humongous updates, because again, I'm speaking about one update in particular, which is Saturday's update, but it's been multiple updates since then. There's just been like mini updates, if you will. But so yeah, like I showed you, relics are a thing now. So relics are gonna grant you passive buffs, and they drop from all timed events, that being dungeons, the Infernal Castle, and the Dead Island raid. So if you partake in any of those things, you will be able to go ahead and potentially get yourself a relic. Now, relics actually vary, okay? Some relics are going to boost your shadow damage. Some relics are going to raise all of your shadows to a level. It doesn't raise the level cap. It's just going to raise all your shadows to a specific level, for example. And there's also going to be other relics that are going to increase your drop chance, similar to like how loot aspect increases your drop chance as well. Others are going to boost your luck when you arise. They might boost your weapon strength. So there's a lot of different types of relics that you guys can get. And as you guys saw, we just managed to get one, which is an uncommon one, which is the Ink of Death. Now, also, if you notice with the, well, I'll show you again just in case, but with this relic that I have, it's a D rank. So relics do have ranks. Now, each relic is supposed to be at A rank to have the intended buff that the devs want you to have for the weapon, right? So, however, if you manage to get a D rank, right? If you manage to get an E rank up to a B rank and not an A rank, which is the intended buff, it'll be lower than what the intended buff is supposed to be, unfortunately, right? So when you happen to get a double S rank rarity relic, it'll actually receive 120% bonus to the intended effect. All right, so hopefully that makes sense for you guys. It gives you some replayability and grind aspect or grinding to attaining these relics. It's not like just like, oh, I got a relic, that's it. No, like, you know, you can keep going and hopefully get a better drop, better grade, and better bonuses. So obviously, as you guys have been seeing with all these kills and stuff that I've been getting, you know, they've buffed the rewards and drops and stuff like that from the Infernal Castle. I think I started with like 200 something legendary powder dust. I'm at 448 right now. I have 440 tickets. Like, bro, they really buffed the drops overall for the Infernal Castle. It's really insane. The only downside, like I mentioned earlier, is that now in order for you to go ahead and attempt the Infernal Castle, which is more than likely why they've buffed it, is that you need to have a ticket. Much like dungeons, you know, like have tickets or have the sufficient amount of gems. Also, this is a small little variance, but it's important to note, like before, dungeons would despawn after 15 minutes. Now they changed it to 14 minutes. And the spawn rate for dungeons has changed dramatically. Now it's every 15 minutes, which is why you saw when we got into the Infernal Castle that a dungeon had spawned, I think on Brum Island or something like that. So yeah, dungeons now spawn every 15 minutes instead of 30 how it was before. So that's a pretty big significant change. So also another cool thing they've actually done as well, guys, is that now like in the guilds, like before it's pretty annoying, like when you wanted to go ahead and go into the guild and like, for example, like add gems here. Like before you would have to write a bunch of numbers to put in the amount of gems or be very intentional with the amount of gems you wanted to put in here. But now, for example, if I wanted to put in 1 trillion, all I have to type is 1 T. If I wanted to put in 1 million, all I have to type in is 1 M. If I wanted to put in 1 billion, I would have to put in 1 B, you know, 1 QA, 1, you know, 1 key eventually, right? Like if that's what you want to put in, that's how you put in these numbers now. So they've added in this new system to where you don't have to type in all these damn zeros. You can just put like the alphabetical representation of the numerical value, if that makes sense. Oh, and also I should have told you guys this when I had the UI open. Oh my gosh, I'm like like progressing so slowly, but I wanted to show you guys that the max guild members has gone up from 35 to 50 now, so you can have 50 total guild members. And our guild is making an insane amount of progress, as you can tell by the amount of gems that we have in our guild. Also, since we're in the Infernal Castle now, they've added in a stat tracker to this. So as you guys can see, we have a max Infernal Castle floor, an Infernal Castle amount of clears that we have. They even have like the amount of enemies that you can or have defeated here, as you can see in castle enemies defeated down over here. So just wanted to point that out as well. Lots of little minor tweaks and additions that are all super cool, but you could probably, you know, quickly glance over it and unfortunately have it go unnoticed. So just point it out for you guys. Now if I go back into the shop, the amount of gems and stuff, as you guys can tell, and cash are all going to scale with your level. Before it was just like a flat amount, but now I guess as a means to incentivize people to actually spend Robux on some of these things, they made it scale with like your you know, your player rank / level. Oh, and also before I forget, I mentioned dust and stuff and how much we're getting, but the maximum amount of dust that you can get now is 1,500, or rather that you can hold on your character. Before, I believe it was like 1,000 and something, or maybe I forget what it was before, but it's 1,500 now. So yeah. Lastly, the final thing I will show you guys in the Game Pass shop over here is that they've added in these new inventory slots and stuff like that. They have actually a Game Pass for it, so you guys can see extra storage over here. And big storage. This is actually what they added in. My bad. I believe this was in here before with the dev product. But yeah, you can go ahead and buy that if you would like. I mean, to me, it's not really worth it. I have 450 shadow slots. I'll just stick with what I have for now. But if you don't like deleting your shadows and like picking up everything, then maybe that might be a game pass you might want to buy, you know? All right, guys, moment of truth. We're on floor 25 finally. Thought this would never get done, to be honest with you. We're doing a drastically big difference in terms of damage. Before, this would take me a bit to kill her, but man, all these new balances and adjustments they've done since the update on Saturday have really gone through to shine, because holy heck, bro, we are crushing it out here, bro. All right, guys, I decided to leave the Infernal Castle because it was taking forever, but man, I like being able to have a shadow as our skin now. It'd be nice if we could have the VFX that they do, but I don't know, maybe eventually they'll add that in. So I also wanted to tell you guys that when dungeons spawn in now, they'll actually be marked with a huge beam. I don't know if they changed it since when the update first came out, but the beam was blue in it and it blended in with the freaking sky. So I was like, bruh, are you serious? But I like that addition too, because before I would do my best to not do dungeons because I hated running around and looking for them. And then like, if I didn't want to do that, I would still have to look for them, but I would have to refer to the Discord server. So I didn't want to leave the game to, I don't know. It was weird. But now, you really don't have to look at the Discord server to see, unless you want to know specifically what spawned in and what rank it is. But if you're in the game, you can literally quickly find dungeons, because again, they'll have like a huge marker on them when they do happen to spawn in, of course. Now take a look at this, right? Our weapon is doing 33.7 Q8 damage. Okay, we're gonna go into stats here. We're gonna allocate all these skill points, so basically all 8 of them that we have, for a total of 10. If I go back into my inventory, back into weapons here, it's a little bit of a visual bug there. You see how it says 33.7 Q8? It's actually, you know, 35.12. So pretty big difference, right? That's 2 Q8 damage difference, which is big. All right, and that's only gonna get bigger the stronger the total weapon strength is. So yeah, this new leveling system, bro, very hot. I like it. Also, the last thing, you know, beyond the various many readjustments and balancing and bug fixes that they did that I'm not going to mention in this video because I'll be yapping for a lot longer, but the last thing they've added in is this UI stuff. Now they have auto destroy on here, which before was not on here. They also, you know, took out the dash button. I don't know why that was there anyways in the first place. But talking about dashes, as you guys can see, we now dash a lot quicker and a lot further, and the dash speed actually now scales with your player speed as well. So obviously, if I go back into our stats, you guys can see that we have our player speed over here, which is increased 1% by our stat point or skill point. So that's an incentive to do that, because obviously the faster your player speed, the faster your dash, the faster you get to clear any run that you do in this game, because all we do is dash around. But you guys can also use this enchant ticket, whatever code, if you haven't used it yet, for some goodies. But this is a W update, massive updates. I like how the game's progressing now. Oh my god, I got AFK some more for sure.